Hello and welcome, everyone. Good to see you all. This is a new show of Tawheed Spiritual Unity of the Three Principles with my amazing co-host, Harry Derbitsky. And today's topic is what does inside-out realities mean? And I'm glad that Harry chose this topic because it's really good to go back. For me, it's going back to basics again and start talking about this understanding. In the last episode, we've talked about quotes of Rumi and different topics that were amazing and a lot of people really love them. And when I read the topic, because Harry who chose this topic as well, and for me, I had to email him and ask him what does he mean by inside out realities, because there are not many realities. For me, there are two realities. Either I see it clearly or I don't. And when I don't, I create many realities in my head that I buy into, illusionary realities. But there is only one reality, really, and I hope that this conversation will bring us back to that one reality. I guess everyone goes or sidetrack and go to another reality, which is the illusion. And for me, when I sidetrack and I'm blind into it, I just create more realities, and I call that when I'm not with reality, I call that taking a break from reality, or a psychotic break from reality. My way to go back to how things are is listening to Mr. Banks. This is what brings me back to who I truly am, and having these conversations, of course. Yeah. Harry, would you like to go and share?
Yeah, I think, Omar, I want to first, I picked this topic because I try to pick topics that I don't fully understand. I like
Amazing. I thought that I'm the only one.
Yeah, it's true. But it is one of those topics that I don't talk a lot about, and I'm wasn't that clear. And I on Tuesday in Heartfelt, I picked that as the topic with Jim and Roz, and I noticed they also didn't have a very clear understanding of what it is and so on. So the beauty of this topic is no one can say for sure as a definitive thing, except that it's a metaphor for something that's really true. And in the truth of it, I'm just starting to get a glimpse of it. But what I noticed was, because I talked about it on Tuesday, now let's say from a more blocked perspective, because I don't fully have a free flow with this particular topic, it led to me looking at it, and it released new ideas about it and so on. And that I really enjoyed. So the first thing I'm going to say about this topic is investigate it. Don't always say you know what it is. We are often sitting in a, as teachers and as people who share, we often get a lot of accolades, and we sometimes get caught up in, we have a definitive answer for everything. Well, I can tell you right now, I do not have a definitive answer for inside out realities. But I read something the other day that I thought described it better than I could describe it. And that's what I'm kind of looking at. It's a book from Richard Wagamese, my favorite indigenous writer, called The Quality of Light. It's a short thing, but it really captures I will always remember the teaching, always being Indian, Ojibwe, always being Muslim is about learning the teaching and putting them into practice in your life. It's not about how you look, where you live, who you live with. It's about what you carry inside, not what you show to the world. It's an inside truth. When you have it within you, you can go anywhere, do anything. You will always be a Muslim, a man and woman of the spirit. Just I changed Ojibwe to Muslim, but that's the reality. That's an asset. That's the power. Inside, I walk bravely into any reality that life brings. And since I'm very adventuresome, I have to use that instinctive ability to connect with that inside truth because I like to walk into the unknown. I don't like the known so much. It bores me, to be honest. And I'm tired of people talking about it, to be honest. Even psychologically, oh, if you don't think that you'll be inside. It's just, but what is inside? And it's the greatest gift we have because we're born with it. It's our connection to God. Omar, it's kind of a little bit like that topic we had, solitude and loneliness, where we define solitude as alone with God and loneliness alone without God. But again, that's just the metaphor. What does that actually mean? So I'm going to turn, Maja has something she wants to share, and I thought we would roll right into that and see where we go. And this is a difficult topic, but boy, it can be a lot of fun if we get to the kernel of it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Harry and Omar. I really enjoy these spiritual conversations. It's like you get so much. Sorry, do you hear me?
Yeah, hear you good.
Okay, that's good. So recently I've been doing a lot and connecting to lots of people and like augmenting my area of sharing and doing stuff. And recently I had a conversation with the nurses, and they called it Lynn McCrae and Teresa Walding, and they were talking about how they always use Dr. Keith Blevins and his
single paradigm.
The paradigm, you know, that where it's a drawing, like there's one side and then the other side, and then it's pointing towards that everything is in that it's from the inside, right? And then I just got this I don't know, like an image or a sense of what that means to me, and I try to paint it. So I'd just like to share that what came out of that, and then how that evolved, sort of. Yeah, just turn around the camera there. Okay, so this is the, I don't know, does it show? This, like I'm here, right, in the middle, and then I open up inside, and that opening is basics. That's where I get everything, like all my energy, all my thoughts, all my consciousness, right? And that, and everything really, not like everything that shows up on the surface in my life is coming from here, right? And that it goes to the physical. So this is the spiritual side and this is the physical side. And the way I felt it was like I was being sort of a portal, being like receiving that spiritual power and manifesting it in the physical, like not by me, but by that power coming through me. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
Right. So, and also I got this sentence, this is a one-way reality. Like there's nothing coming from this side onto here. It's everything comes here. It can look like it comes from outside, right? You know, it can really look like that, but everything comes from this side. So it goes, and then when it sort of dissolves or changes, it's been taken back to this side, not coming, I don't know. So this is this drawing is it's the first one I got, and then I showed it to my husband, and he's really clever, and he likes to analyze things. So he looked at it and he said, well, this drawing, it shows very clearly that you get things from the outside, like all the power or like peace and love is coming from the outside. Okay, well, I see what you mean. This is not exactly showing my point. Like it doesn't show the bigger picture. So I tried to make a new sketch, and this is it. So see, that small part, this is a small part of the big picture. And it could be like one area like this and this and this and this, like all of them are individuals that connect with source here, like love. And every one of us are connected equally, but we can be differently aware of that. So that is why I drew, like, you see this one has open eyes and he sees only the surface and he will feel empty. And this one also, he's looking at the outside. He doesn't see where it comes from, it just sees the result, you know, and that will make him frustrated. Or this one, right? It has very big eyes, but these two, they have eyes closed, focusing inward, and they are aware of this source. They don't know it all, of course, nobody knows it all, but they are aware that when you focus inward, that is where you get the power, and that is the reality, the inside reality, how I see it.
That's the way Sid described his enlightenment, by the way, in the indigenous circle, which is similar to what Maja is showing, that there's the circle is the indigenous symbol for God or Allah or whatever we call it. And the small inside of the circle is the source that we have. And when it connects, those two worlds connect. That's how he described his enlightenment experience. So when the person who sees clearly inside is enlightened, and the person, some people see, just knowing and experiencing that, as we know, as Sid would say, a glimpse is a very powerful thing, even a glimpse. But to be aware of that's the way it flows is life-changing, because when we talk about saving the world, and when we talk, say, the Muslims and the Jews, they're talking about how to solve the problem on the outside. But Omar and I understand that if you can't trust each other, there's never going to be a peace between people. Trusting God or trusting the inside, as Sid would say, is a feeling. You're trying to write and describe my a feeling that's impossible to describe. But I bet you any money when you drew it, you were in that feeling.
I really was. And of course, I know that a drawing is very limited. It's like a two-dimensional presentation of something that's really multi-dimensional. And this is like, I imagine this circle is just one slice of the whole, which might be like, you know.
And
Yeah.
how
it's moving. It's moving.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, there's a word that the quantum physics say intermingles. It intermingles with each other. Everything intermingles. And Mark Sleeve said on our show many years ago already that if something is 1,000,000 miles away and it does something, it affects its compadre, whatever that is, 1,000,000 miles away. It feels it. It affects it. They know that scientifically. So everything that we're doing as a totality, it's good to be aware of it. Your love is affecting the universe. My love affects my kids. Omar's love affects his mother and his father.
And my future kids.
And my future kid. That's actually a funny thing to say it like that, but like that. And one of the things I talked to Omar's aunt last week, and because Omar has been sharing a beautiful feeling, she had a beautiful feeling towards me. It was really like, it was a very like, usually there's strange and stuff, and she's inviting me to California, all this stuff. It's just a beautiful feeling. One beautiful feeling from the inside, it spreads.
Yeah.
If you are aware of that, it's even better because then you're healing yourself. We know it works intellectually, we know it works, but if we're aware of that in the moment, you are now in a state of enlightenment, a stage of but it is the only way that it works. And as all a higher level of consciousness is just more of awareness that it's an inside out reality. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Omar said, I decided I would put out some energy. I'd take a chance. That comes from inside out. He put out energy. And as Divya said, he shared with Jim Beck, and it was beautiful. And every time we share beautiful feelings, we inspire.
We receive back the beautiful feeling that we give. In fact, that when we really wake up to what's going on inside of us, the one reality, it's amazing what comes out of us. Just what's been there the whole time, just been blinded to it by our own misuse of thinking. And we have Mette here today with us, and she had an experience recently with her father. And would you like to share
Hello.
about that, Mette?
Hi everyone. Yeah,
Hi.
I think I could need a bit of some help, Omar.
Yeah, definitely.
If you could ask me the questions, and I'll try to answer like I did earlier today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll just love to hear like what happened that pushes you to get in touch with your father, or can you just tell us like how was
Yeah.
how was your relationship?
Yeah. The relationship has been since I was a child been very difficult. We couldn't connect. My father had a problem with the alcohol, and he was very angry, and I got scared. And for some time now, I have I feel him. For the first time ever, I see him. I feel him. I hear him. Because I think the reason is that I see him and I are equal. I used to judge him a lot, and didn't let him in. So I realized as soon as I send him love, I feel the love towards me. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful, Maya.
Mm.
And you realize that it's coming from you, and it was coming from you the whole time. Even he was,
Yeah, I
you
know.
know,
Yeah.
a bit
Mm.
aggressive when you were a child.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for
Thank you for
thank you
listening.
for sharing that.
It's so interesting, Meta, hearing your feeling, almost feeling of relief that
Mm.
that you found the right way to look at it
Mm.
rather than the wrong way that the world is telling you to look at it.
Mm.
Somewhere in that, you found your own common sense. You connected with your own, something you always knew was true.
Yeah.
And it's such a relief for all of us, not just you, every one of us, when we touch that,
Mm.
to know there's an answer to the most complicated of situations. Of
Yeah.
course, it's such a simple answer. I can feel like you talk, it really wasn't a big problem. It just, you couldn't see what to do. We're caught up in our thinking, our
Yeah.
thoughts. And then the relief when we see the simplicity of what you saw.
Yeah.
Like it's so, Sid always said it was so practical. Like yours is like, it's so practical.
Mm.
Bad, good. Just
Yeah.
from a shift in something you picked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love that, how the reality changes. When you live an inside out reality or have an insight, obviously the insight takes you inside.
Mm.
All of a sudden the simplicity is seen. I can't handle complexity. It's so heavy. It's so, it's burdensome. So
Mm.
that's something you share now with people. You share that feeling and it will grow because your understanding will grow from it. Inside
Thank you,
out.
Harry.
Oh, and Omar, you know, it's
Mm.
beautiful.
Mm.
For me, the essence of Inside Out, what I was always weak in was I never included myself in it. I saw the magnificence of God and the power of everything and the interconnected, like you laid out Maya, you know, all that. But I never saw myself in it. And then one day I was sitting on holiday in Palm Springs and I felt the power. It was an alive feeling. I says, oh, I thought it was a concept inside, but it was an alive. I felt alive with the feeling of being one with God. And I says, oh, well, that's something I can hold on to, this alive feeling. I would say, Omar, I was shocked that I had this alive feeling, which of course is an oxymoron, because how could you not have an alive feeling if you're alive? And what are human beings doing but pretending they're not alive with this feeling? One thing, Meta, that Sid talked about continually at the beginning, he always talked about going inside or within, you know, and so on, connecting to your soul, consciousness. It handles my insecurities. Going inside handles our insecurities. And in your case, Betta, it handles your outlet of love to your dear dad.
Mm.
And what could be more precious than that?
Mm.
I held a 3-week-old baby in Winnipeg for a few minutes. This baby was 98% in the other world, even after 3 weeks. It sleeps most of the time. It's not hardly here. Yet everybody in the room, all 15 of us or so, are like revolving around the baby. You know, we're all picking up on the energy of this peaceful soul. That's inside, that peaceful feeling that touches. It affects everybody. Go ahead.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'd like to share some more. What did you say, Mette?
You can go ahead, Maya. I'll be back.
Okay. I would just like to connect this drawing to some Rumi quotes, because I'm also a very big fan of that poet, you know. So
Welcome to the club.
some of the quotes that came up was, close your eyes, fall in love, stay there.
Oh,
This is one of the essences that I got from this, connecting to the inside reality. That is love. Like, you fall down to the reality of love, and that's all we need. How does that feel? Yeah.
Wonderful. and Maya, you look so wonderful without your hair. It's so amazing. You're shining.
Thank you.
Mm.
I feel shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are.
You know, one of the reasons is she has nothing on it. She's not having any insecurity about it. She's okay with it.
Yeah.
And you know, you can't unsee this. It shines through her. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Even people say that a woman's house beauty is her hair.
Yeah.
That's just a thought, isn't it? That's just made up. What's about her soul? It's really beautiful when you see beyond what there is to see with our naked eyes. You know, there lies the real, you know, beauty, and that's the one reality, the permanent one. That there is the, for me, there are two realities: impermanent one and permanent one. And the true reality is the permanent one, that you can't, you really can't, you know, escape it. So what happens to me when I'm in my head? I'm basically in the second reality, the permanent one or the temporary one, and I just get more lost, you know, and I suffer that. And so when I don't listen to my feelings telling me that I am sidetracking from the impermanent reality, I get more and more and more lost. And so until I see it and laugh at myself, and then wake up and say, oh, thanks God. I woke up from this nightmare and go back to the true reality, you know, when everything is, you know, clear to us and not contaminated with unwanted thoughts. And, you know, Rumi has a quote that actually, you know, could use for this topic about realities. And the permanent reality is where he was saying, beyond wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. So that for me, the true reality, you know, where everything is neutral. And not contaminated.
And how do you see the individual in that, Omar?
What do you mean?
Well, I pick up, you know, I love Rumi, but we meet in this field. Maybe that's the individual, I guess. The individual meets in the field to be a common one, a common feeling of togetherness. I suppose the individual is the free will to walk and meet in that field.
Yeah.
I'm just suggesting that, not stating that.
Yeah.
Because within life, we know that we become, when we're inside, we become empowered. We see clearly, we have visions, we use our intuition, we walk with courage and faith. And on the outside, we do the same thing, except with insecurity and fear. So the empowerment process allows us to live our unit in a very fulfilling way, beyond our wildest imagination. We become geniuses when we're just ordinary people, but by accessing what Maya is talking, the power of the spirit. So somewhere in the paradox is allness, and oneness becomes me. And when I feel this, I'm not thinking. I'm just doing.
Yeah. It's impersonal.
Impersonal. That's a good word. I like that. Inside
You
is
know,
personal. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I see us all connected in the you know, the permanent side of realities. And the other side, the temporary side, is what the appear to us as we are divided from each other. I need you to say sorry for me to feel better. I need you to do this for me to feel in a certain way. And so that's all insecurities, and really putting our sanity at risk. giving up our power temporarily. And so for me, when we are in the permanent reality, which is the inside out, when I'm really tuning in with who I truly am, it's clear to me that I'm experiencing my thoughts about this person. And when I give up my judgment and my expectations, I connect with the other person, where in this field of interconnectedness, let's say, or entanglement, as Katrina said, where we are all connected. That's the true reality. Did this answer your question, Harry?
Well, it's pretty good, actually, if you want to be honest. I thought it was a pretty good answer to the question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to think about it and figure it out. No.
It's funny because the more we give away our personal thinking, the more empowered we become. And the more empowered we become, the easier it is to keep heading towards the inside reality. Inside seems to be, I love your definition, the permanence or the truth, the permanence of truth. It is the only reality there is. We create this illusion with our thinking. It's almost like we give up our thinking without giving it up, because we can't give it up. But it's almost like we give every thought I've had of who I was seems to interfere with the permanence of truth that I am. I would say inside is I am, and then I would say God is I am. You know, but I like what you talked about, because if we can, like, obviously there's a permanent truth, a oneness. I wish I would trust it more. And what I have found is the more I trust it, it's like a prayer to God. The more it gives me that. And the more it gives me, the more I have faith, because it's proving itself. There is a permanent reality, and that permanent reality resides in me. You know, Maya, when you were talking about those two realities, and then in the middle, you were. That was exactly what I experienced in the indigenous world. I had indigenous teachings and I had 3P teachings. And how did they come together? Only in one place, in me. I had to accept that. They weren't different. There was one truth, but they were spoken with different words. And we've experienced some of that on this show, Omar, with Muslim, Rumi, etc., faith and spirituality, and 3P. They're alive in us. I think that's the inside out reality. When we forget we're alive with God, we get insecure. Like that solitude, alone with God or alone without God. With God, as Omar has stated, that permanence just keeps. He's experienced, wow, I've become a better human being, a wiser human being. So he keeps doing it because it proves itself. That's all that's happened to all of us, everyone. Meta, that experience you had, what proof, more proof do you need that it works? than that. For you, of course, that was perfect. It enriched your whole life. It changed everything about you, made you into a more loving human being. Maybe that's our role in life, why we're here, to become a more loving, better human being, a better vessel in the image of God. Do the Muslims say that in their Quran? That we are, what do they, here's a question. What do they say we are in relationship to Allah? Real simple question for you, Omar.
That's the really difficult question, Harry.
What, honestly, what does it say in relationship to that?
Could you say your question again, Harry? I have to use my intellect here.
Well, in the Bible, which I have never read, they say that we are in, God has created us in his own image.
Yeah, absolutely. We say the same thing.
And
So we are a divine human being.
there we go.
You know, you said earlier something about trusting, that we just have to trust. Trust happens naturally or effortlessly when we jump levels of consciousness. And, you know, as Mette stated, that she saw her father in new lenses. And that, for me, she just saw something she never seen before. And that's, you know, an insight, a sight within, seeing something for the first time that makes you see maybe nothing changes around you, but everything changes from inside. Your experience is completely different. And that's, you know, the meaning of tuning in with the only and one permanent reality inside of us.
I think
The only
it's
thing
true.
that distracts us is our thinking. Go ahead, Maya.
Yeah, I'd just like to put my own words to that. Like, it's when we focus too hard on the outside world, like the things we can see with our eyes, or what we think we see with our eyes. When we focus too hard on that, we are suffering, because it's the illusion, right? Is that is the outside reality, the illusion. And when we shift that focus to the inside, the feel, to be more in the feeling than in the looking, that's when we experience what's real, like love, power.
Creativity,
Yeah, all the good stuff.
all the good stuff, kindness.
Yeah. So for me, it's like the difference from inside and outside is like, outside reality is we focus too hard on the, on whatever we send to pick up, and shifting to inside. It's the eyes closed, but still seeing.
And what's cool is we can see that you're experiencing that in a new way. Like you're seeing, there's a lot of newness coming into the way that you're looking at life. And we don't need to know more than that, Maya, because we can feel or see that newness. So we know whoever
You can see that newness.
I can see it all over you. I can feel it all over you. And whoever you were before has no relevance to who you are now. That's why there's no past. It's incredible that in 1 second, I mean, Sid did it all in 1 second, but you have done it all in 1 second as well to where you are now. And it's beautiful to see. That's the power of that permanent reality that Omar is alluding to, is it has that transformational ability to open our eyes. Of course, it's our heart to unconditional, to more love.
Really, that openness is what I pray for. I don't pray for specific things, like I just pray to be open. And I know that whatever I need is going to come. Oh, it's already there. I just don't know yet.
There you go. There is trusting.
Yeah.
Effortless
So
trusting.
the way I see it now, this is really a good reason to surrender, because that's when we come down to reality. So when I'm up here and I try to fix things, I want to grab like whatever is in my idea of what I need. It's not real. I can just fall down, like let go and be back to love,
Back to the fitra.
back to the fitra. That's it. That's also the fitra. Mm.
Hmm.
So
You know,
Joe is not here. Is Joe here today?
he disappeared.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
Something occurred to me about you know, feeling bad or negative feeling or negative thought. There is nothing more to a negative thought than a negative thought. I mean, that's it. It's not separate from us. Even it looks like it's a something that has that lives in its own right and it's separate from us. It ends in a negative thought. That's all there is. And when we see that it really has no power over us, we feel bad. But we feel bad because of our thinking, what we have in our mind in that moment. This has no power over us to control us or to dictate who we truly are. That space, which is always permanent, which is always true, which is always intact, no matter what's going on in our minds. And, you know, the more we see that, we fall out of our thinking. And by default, you come back in tune with who we truly are and operate from there and give love. And by giving love, you receive love. Sydney Banks used to always say, well, you give, you receive. If you give love, you receive love. If you give hate, you will receive hate. And so sometimes we make some unwise choices by just, you know, giving something that we are not willing to receive back. We are not open to receive back. I mean, who does want to feel in a horrible state? You know, we do it innocently, and that's because we, you know, we either have a misunderstanding of where our experience is coming from, or we know it, but still get caught up in it and dwell in that you know, train of thought, instead of just jumping out of that train and waiting for a better, pure train of thought to guide us.
One of the realizations I had was we have to love every one of our thoughts, because any thought that we don't love will lead us to think lesser of ourselves. There's nothing to be afraid of any thought that we have ever, except the thought we have about it that associates, that we have an association. But if you love all your thoughts, it becomes powerless, the negativity, and it becomes non-definable. It isn't actually a negative thought. It's what we associate in our own head about what it is. And when we love our thoughts, say we have an addictive thought and we love it, it loses its power. It only has its power when you think about it, define about it, and try to fix it. It has no power if you don't do anything about it except love it. And I let it go. And then guess what? Because I don't fully understand it, I lasso it and pull it back into the present. But of course, if I let it go, guess where it would go? Gone. But it never disappears. We never lose any thought, ever. Every thought is always there. And that's where free will comes into the play. God's will guides us to let it go and not pull it back into the present. But when you can't feel the love, you lasso it and pull it into the present. And that's how people are doing. They've lost their contact with God or the inside reality that they are. And they start to believe what the world is telling them. Every one of us are alone in that journey. We all have to come up with, I have enough inside me to handle, to doctor myself, to handle whatever. I must listen to what God is telling me to do because I am unique in my expression of that. I must be myself. And anything less than yourself is a compromise, a cop-out. No sense being rich if you're unhappy. It's just not worth it. And yet we know prosperity is often better than poverty, but not if we limit ourselves. I saw one of my brother's sons, he has 3 sons, Omar, and he's 27 years old, he owns a house and he has a great job, but he's stifled. He can feel the restriction. I wish I could go up to him and tell him, go on an adventure, have a little experience about something beyond just money, job, and house. And when he does, he'll step into this, who he is. That's what I believe, Omar. But of course, it might not even be good advice, but it's what I believe. So we're here to find out who we are as the unique manifestation of God. And it's the most precious gift in the universe because each one of us are a vessel of love. I love loving, but most important, I want to be happy and content with my life. That's inside. Being happy and content is inside. Being discontent and complaining, that's outside.
It's easy to be fooled by our own thoughts or negative thoughts when we are in a lower level of consciousness. And so the best thing to do is to not really buy into these thoughts, and just wait for a pure thought to come for the rescue. I heard one. I heard this one time in a talk in London, that it's not that life brings us down sometimes, is that when we are down, everything we think feels like a kick. Everything. And so, to the best of my ability, I will just experience the feeling. If I try to resist it, I'll just make myself in trouble for that. And I would just stay in the outside in as much as possible. And that's why we have, the gift of feeling. Feeling indicates where we are at. And if my feelings are hurt, that means what I'm having in here is not to be trusted. Let it go, as Harry said. Let it pass. Let thoughts to the one who created them. That's a divine mind, or God, or Allah.
Obviously, we're living an incredible life. Obviously, except it would be nice if we took ourselves along with the journey. Everything works out, guys. Everything works out. It's all, if someone loses all their money, that's the best thing for them. It's all a divine dream that's manifesting in perfection. Omar's getting what he needs. It's not actually suffering. He's getting what he needs. Because Omar, as Bill Perez says, it's a GPS system. If we're going in the wrong direction, you wouldn't want a system that was faulty. You would want a perfect system to tell you Omar is going in the wrong direction. Vice versa, if there's uncomfortableness on a personal level, it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's uncomfortable. Like Omar, and when Omar's working with a client, he would love every moment to be pure bliss, but he knows there's a heaviness that is there that he sits in. And what I kind of figured out, Omar, is I might as well sit in my own heaviness too. Not only with the client, but in my
Welcome
own.
to the human race, Harry.
Welcome to the human race. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? We just have to lighten up, people. You just have a good time. Be ordinary. It's the spirit, as Maya showed in her diagram, it's the spirit that does all the heavy work. We take care of a few little details along the way. We're so lucky that we can be part of this universal explosion of the three principles. We're the luckiest people in the world. Somehow, Sydney Banks connected spiritual and psychological together. We got religion and we got psychology together. And where does it meet? Where does it meet? Just like, where does it meet? As Maya said in her diagram, right, Maya? Right in the middle, in me.
Sydney Banks used to refer to the three principles sometimes as the psychology of the future. It certainly is. It certainly is.
Except the future is present here in this room.
Hmm.
Can I say something?
Does anyone have?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to ask. Yeah.
Harry, you talked about heaviness. It's heavy. We need to lighten up. I have a feeling that it's easier for me to be together with children and animals. How come?
I have the same experience. Human beings
Yeah.
are pretty tough. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when we find the happiness within ourselves, we then we then connect to to the true nature of who we are.
Mm.
And it's our job to learn to get along with other human beings, even though they're pain in the asses, you know, even though they think so much of their own opinions and ideas and pretend so much.
Yeah.
But they know, see, what's beautiful, that's why Sid says when you meet a client, talk that they're healthy. We have to look and talk to their health or their love inside themselves, and they will respond. It's just animals and nature. You can see that's a very pure thought. That's purity of thought. You know, the animals, but the human beings have the ability to think for themselves. And every human being I've ever met has always loves a beautiful feeling. Always. I've worked with more cultures than anybody else in 3P or maybe even in the world. And it's always been the same thing. I don't see the difference between men and women. I don't see the difference between Muslim and Jews. I don't see the difference between Indians and white people. I just see people. And some people have good energy and some not so good. And when people come to me, my job is to raise their level of consciousness. And how do I do it? I do it different than Omar does it. I usually tell a bad joke and they laugh. And the moment they laugh, they can't help but feel a little bit better. They try to go back, but it's never the same. Because once you laugh, it's just you're dead meat. You know, it just doesn't hold water. So just raise in your way, like you did with your dad. With obviously love is the answer to raising levels of consciousness, getting along with human beings. People are not in a good place, Meta. Yes, that's true. We're destroying the world. Yes, that is true. But I do know that they have the answer inside themselves. We have the answer. We're part of the global community, and we need them. We need them. We need their money. We need their ideas. And we need to change our mind about how we see them. And I'm going to include myself in that, Meta.
Thank you.
I need to change my mind, you know, the way I see people. And that's what I'm saying so often. Inside out, I change my mind easily. Outside in, not so easily. So have compassion on them. If they're seeing outside in, they're innocently holding on to a falseness. And you know yourself, one lie leads to another, and two lies lead to 10. And that's what they're shrouded in.
I guess Maya have something to share about that, her experience with her daughter.
No, I don't know. I just wanted to say that thing you said, Mette, resonates with me too. Like being around innocent beings. It's always lovely. Like I also have kids and animals, and it's like the less complicated thinking you are around, it makes it simple to just be, and that just being is where we get our essence. And animals can teach us that, like not the crazy animals, right, but the common ones, like if you have a dog or a bunny. And I heard about horses also that have that kind of spirit that can guide you to that silent space. It's beautiful. And then also recently I found out that flowers also have that wisdom, because I was going to visit a friend, and there were some flowers in the store that they looked at me, literally. They went with their eyes and they looked at me like, buy me, this is for your friend, come on. And I went with that. So when I came to her, she said that she doesn't normally accept flowers that are cut off, because she appreciates like living plants more. But these flowers spoke to her as well, and that what they spoke was the language of love. Like they know and nothing else than love. So that is the only thing they can speak. Yeah.
It's the only thing that there is. We are there.
Yeah. And the flowers can show it.
But that's what we're defining Omar as inside. The only thing that there is, and it's love.
Yeah.
The language of love, true love.
Yeah.
And who are we to love? I'll let you answer that one yourself.
Does anyone have anything to share, or a question, or an insight? Please feel free to unmute yourself. Hi, Sue.
Hello.
Hi, good to have you here.
Hi, good to see everybody. I'm really glad to be here. I might have told you I had hip replacement surgery, and so I'm in my second week after, and it's so interesting to see 10 different people reacting 10 different ways about a surgery that was needed, and me watching them and listening to them, and then their reactions to me. And my response was, well, it needs to be replaced. Good thing I don't have 3 legs, I was making light of it. And then hearing all this negativity, and I just listened. And so I really went into deep listening, or Michael Neal calls it guerrilla listening. And so one by one, as each person said something to me, I'd say, it's all right. It's already healing itself. I don't need to do anything. There's nothing to do. And some people were perplexed by that, Is she a little cuckoo? Maybe she needs some head surgery. But the 3 principles have helped me a lot. Being just okay with surgery, or I don't have any pain. I'm just doing my everyday thing and just accepting all the people's reactions to what I'm going through. Right now, I have a whole group of dog walkers, and they are learning from my dog about love, because he's a therapy dog. And they're coming back saying, wow, I didn't know a dog could be so intuitive and so fun to be with. And so it's all a learning process. And I'm glad my dog's out walking so I can listen more to your podcast. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing this, Sue.
You bet.
Yeah. So we could see here 10 different realities, and the one true and unshakable reality, when it's our true reality, when we actually see what's going on inside of us and listen to that. That's pure wisdom, uncontaminated by what's outside. I love that.
Yeah, it's like the hip replacement is outside and how you are seeing it is the inside.
Is inside. And the other thing, though, is me not judging those 10 people for their 10 realities and just listening. And that's that gorilla deep listening and saying, you know, it's all okay. It's all right.
Yeah, Sid would say, listen for a feeling.
Listen, search for a beautiful feeling. I have it on my refrigerator.
Yeah, and you're living it. I mean, theoretically, you're inspiring people because they're used to this being a heavy negative topic.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yep.
I wrote a chapter in my first book about addiction. It was called "It's a Serious Topic, but you don't have to be serious about it."
Mm-hmm.
And you're living that. You're showing people.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing happened to me, Sue, when I had cancer. I I got so happy. It was incredible. And then I was talking to the lady, I just loved having cancer. And she says, well, what's there to like? And of course, from the outside, that's true.
Yeah.
But if you experience that relief, that bright light that you're experiencing, that gorilla listening, as you were talking about,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And if a hip replacement is a beautiful, or whatever is a beautiful experience, what isn't a beautiful experience
Exactly.
becomes an interesting thought. And all that happened was I changed thought. I am diseased. I can't live with that thought. That gets
no.
bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I
Yeah.
got it. I mean, maybe I'll die, but I got to at least die with a smile on my face. And I
That's
got to
right.
be happy now and
Mhm.
forget about all that other stuff.
And
That's
it also, having any kind of surgery or cancer, or anything like that, for me, having this has really slowed me down. I'm not doing, and I'm listening to podcasts, and I'm reading Sig's book again and calling friends from our discussion group, and I'm not in the doingness of my brain, just really slowing down and healing.
yeah,
I love it.
me too.
All right. Thank you.
Slowing down to the pace of healing.
Yep, that's it.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, healing is, is part of our, body wisdom, innate wisdom, whatever you want to call it. And, we either get in the way of that or we just let it do its job. And it's the same with our, feelings. When we feel hurt, we don't need to fix that. It just fixes itself by itself. As as I said, like a negative thought has there is nothing more to a negative thought than a negative thought. I mean, that's it. It ends there. And when we don't try to put meaning into that or label it, it just disappears. And what we are left with is a beautiful feeling, a pure feeling of who we truly are. The only reality that exists, the true reality inside each and every one of us. Thank you for sharing, Sue.
Seems a good place. That's a good definition. Good place now, Omar, to talk about a topic that none of us really know much about, but we love learning about it.
Mm.
And of course, thank you, Maya, for sharing your creativity and your freshness. See, it's very important don't just listen to the icons. Listen to the freshness of other people's sharing. And quite often that will touch you more than just listening to the icons. You've heard them, but we haven't heard Maya's top sharing of her insight. You've heard
Yeah, Harry is saying to not listen to him, people.
that's it. There we go.
Okay, I'm closing my ears.
Okay, good.
Can I hear nothing?
Yeah. I have nothing to say.
Me too. I mean, I would have loved to hear from, you know, Leah and Marilyn, but I don't know if they could mute themselves and share something.
Can I just say to you, Harry, that you shouldn't think less of yourself either, you know? I know you don't. But I just want to say that I really appreciate the way you comment and the way you pick up on what is being shared here. It's
Well, thank you.
sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm always amazed the different roles we play, but as I've grown, I've appreciated others, and if I can catch that feeling and add grace to it, it seems to enrapture the room. And of course,
You're a wizard, Harry.
what's this?
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
Wizard.
A wizard.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Harry Potter.
And I feel you, Harry. I'm just catching your feelings that you're
Yeah,
throwing at me.
Yeah, that's
They
true. Thank
feel
you.
good.
You're smart, Maya. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we arrived to the end of this beautiful conversation. I would love to thank you all for
And maybe
joining
mention
us.
what we have been to our last show of the season. Go ahead, Dickin. I mean, Omar. I kind of let the hat up. Yeah, the last show. Go ahead.
Okay, you just spoiled it for me, Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 2 weeks we're having our last show of the season, of this season, second season. And our next guest speaker is Dickon Bettinger, and the topic is the psychological reality.
No,
Is
the
that-
spirit, the connection of
the connection of the
spiritual
spiritual and psychological. Yeah.
realities, part 2, because he finished last year, our season. We had a lot of views. And this is Omar likes to finish the season with one of the icons. And Dickon is of course one of the favorite of everybody. And he does connect more than most of the psychological community to the mystical side or the spiritual side. And so he's looking forward to coming on, and we're looking forward to having him. And Omar and I have decided to continue the show next year. It was a thought, and
Woohoo!
so we've decided we will continue it. And honestly, Katrina, the reason is because I feel the energy has grown. And as you know, I'm doing a addiction in the Muslim world conference with Catherine and her organization, and it couldn't have happened without this show. It never would have happened. And so it's just fitting that we're going to go for another season, and we'll change the format a little bit and so on. But we're looking forward to that and seeing everyone. And we know people have been touched by the show. We know that. I know that. And
I mean, I'm touched.
yeah, and the truth is what Omar says, we have been the greatest benefactors. Omar and I have been the
Yeah,
greatest.
don't listen to me, people. Listen to you.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, now we started to, okay. But Yeah, so we'll look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks for our final show of the season. We'll
So
take a vote.
the 2nd of June.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be the 2nd of June.
yeah, and
Same
then-
time.
And then I want the summer more or less off to have a little fun and games and whatever this young guy can get in, whatever mischief this young guy can get into, I want to get into it. Okay, so
Thank
Bye bye,
you.
everyone.
thank you. And thanks for everyone who shared. And remember, it's all one. I don't know what that means, but anyway, okay.